Oh, right. So, hey everyone. As I said, my name is Fabian Aguilar. I'm with Raptor Technology, and today I'm going to be training you on really the brand new Raptor. Our new Raptor platform, which we feel is a vast improvement over VSoft, and we're hoping that you really see that as well. So, before we jump into the actual program, I just want to show you exactly where we would go to actually log in a Raptor. And so this information should be coming to you as well, but this is the new Raptor login page. So it looks a little bit different than the login page that you've been used to before. Your username is going to be your email address, and then you'll have a password. If you ever forget your password, my recommendation is to always select the forgot password option. By selecting the forgot password option, what's going to happen is you will then be prompted to enter in your username, which is your email address, and then you'll hit send reset email. That's going to send an email over to your inbox, and then from there, there'll be a link. Click on that link, and it's going to walk you through the process of resetting your password. So that's the easiest way to reset your password. I highly recommend it. It's a lot quicker than reaching out to someone in your district. So just want to go ahead and point that out. But let's go ahead and jump into the system. Let's assume that you've jumped into the system. And depending on what your privileges are, if you're a building administrator, you're going to see what I'm seeing right now. If you're an entry administrator, meaning a person who is working on the front desk, signing people in and out, I'll show you what you're going to see a little bit later. But what I want to do is take this opportunity to kind of show you what Raptor looks like and how we're going to navigate within Raptor. So the two most important things I want to point out is you'll notice this big area right here. The big white space, right? This is what we call the workspace. So this is the workspace. And here on the left-hand side, this is the navigation pane. And so in Raptor, you're never going to hit forward or backward on the browser. You're simply going to select a place on the navigation pane to go ahead and navigate, and it will change the workspace. So for example, I'm in the dashboard. Let me show you what it looks like to go into the area where we're going to sign people in and out. For that, I'll go into the area labeled sign in, sign out. And when I do that, you'll see the workspace has now changed. And so that's really important to understand. You won't be hitting forward or backward. You'll simply be navigating within Raptor by using the navigation panel on the far left-hand side. So that said, that is navigation in Raptor. It's pretty straightforward. A couple other things to point out. On the upper right-hand corner, you'll notice the emergency button. We'll talk about that a little bit later. On the far left-hand side, you will notice that you have your profile. You can click on your profile, which you can also change your password in if you need to, and you can even upload a picture right there if you'd like. And then you have an option to log out as well. If you ever need support, there's support down there, but you'll also notice in the bottom right-hand corner, there's a little area that says support. So you can always quickly get to support right there and then. And in fact, our support number is right there for you. And if you ever need to get to our website, it's there in the bottom right-hand side. So that's a quick overview of the Raptor kind of interface that you'll be working with. Before I move on, before we get into more exciting stuff, are there any questions? I'll just wait a few seconds and then we'll move on. All right, so no questions. So what I want to do next is I want to go ahead and go into the sign in and sign out area, and I want to focus on, okay, so we have a quick question, and this is from Sharon. The question is, so will each person in our front office have their own login? It should be the case. Depending on how your district is working it out, it may be different, but it should be the case that everyone have their own unique login. Yes, Sharon. All right. So let's take a look at this sign in, sign out area. So speaking of people in the front office, this area that we're looking at right now is going to be where you're going to spend 99.99% of your time. This is where you're going to be living and breathing within Raptor. And so this is the sign out, sign in, sign out area. Now let's take a look at this and let's dissect it so you can understand how it works. Well, first and foremost, let's take a look at the buttons in orange. The buttons in orange are actually letting us know what's selected. So for example, we know right here, we're going to be signing in visitors. And right here, we're actually going to be signing them in. So those two buttons, because they're orange, let us know what we're actually focused on. What are we actually going to be signing in? Lets us know that pretty easily. So as we move forward, how do we actually sign people in? Well, there's 3 ways to sign people in with Raptor. And if you've been a Raptor user before, you're probably familiar with these 3 ways. But the first way is to actually scan someone's ID. And so let me show you what it looks like to scan someone's ID. You may be familiar with it already. I'm sure many of you are. But let me go ahead and show you anyway. So this is a quick little video. So you'll notice that is your scan shell scanner. You're going to push the ID all the way to the far right-hand side. You're going to put your fingers on top of the ID while gently having your thumb hold the ID in place. And so I apologize, the video looks a little bit choppy, but here it goes. Now, you'll notice the ID is being pushed through the scanner. Well, how did it actually happen? Well, the way the ID gets pushed to the scanner is by you hitting Scan ID. So when you hit Scan ID, what's going to happen is we're going to scan the ID and the information will pop up. So that's one way to sign somebody in. The second way to sign somebody in is by doing a quick find, and that's in this area right here. So by doing a quick find, we're able to essentially find somebody very quickly. This is ideal for all returning visitors, right? So for all returning visitors, this is ideal. So for example, let me show you this in action. So type in the first letters of someone's name. You don't have to type them all. You can just type in 3. I think 3 is the minimum, but just type in what you know. You hit find, and all of a sudden somebody will pop out. Now, you won't be seeing. You will see the person's photo ID. I can't see it because I'm not on your network. So that's why you're not seeing it on my end, because I'm in Austin, Texas, and that's why you're not seeing it. But I assure you, when you're there in your district, you're going to be able to see it. So this is a second way to sign somebody in. This person would come in, they're a return visitor. Michael would let you know, hey, I'm here to have lunch. Okay, great. So we'll go ahead and select cafeteria for your destination, and then we'll simply hit submit. So that's the second way to sign somebody in. This is all for return visitors. So for the first time visitor, we have to scan their ID. For the returning visitor, we can find them via quick find. Now, the third way to enter somebody in is via what we call the manual entry. And so I'm going to show you the manual entry right now, and I'm also going to show you what it would look like if you have a possible sex offender come into your campus. Now, manual entries are ideal for those visitors who have a valid ID that do not fit in the scanner. For example, if someone were to come into your campus with a passport, well, that passport is a valid form of ID. It's government issued, it's got a person's picture on it, and it has all their correct information on it. Unfortunately, it won't fit in our scanner. So what would you do then? You'd use a manual entry. So for the manual entry, you would simply type in their information. All All right, so I've typed in their information. You select the ID type. I'm going to say this is a passport. You can put in the ID number if you'd like. It's entirely up to you. Remember, you always have to select a destination. Person's here to maybe have lunch with their child. So I put in all the appropriate information for a manual entry. And all the necessary information is indicated by a red asterisk just to the right of that person, of that field. So first name, last name, and date of birth. Those are the three most important pieces of information when that we're capturing from a visitor, because we're going to use those pieces of information to cross-reference against a sex offender database and find out if this person is in fact a sex offender. So then at this point, you're going to want to hit submit and print. And by doing that, we are going to be submitting this information and finding out what happened. And then in the bottom right-hand side, we'll see that person has been signed in. Okay. So that's a successful sign-in in the bottom right-hand side. Now, I told you I was going to show you what a sex offender alert would look like. It should have popped up for you, but I think maybe we've already logged somewhere. It's been tested out with John Doe already. So I'll get to that in a moment. What I want to do next, real quick, we'll just switch gears, is I want to show you how we sign somebody out. So when you're signing somebody out, all you have to do is come over here to the sign out area. You'll see there's that person who signed in. And then all I have to do is hit the blue button that says sign out to the far left. You'll notice in the bottom right-hand side, there is always an icon letting you know what you've done, whether what you've done has been successful or not, and this person has been successfully signed out. So that's how we sign people in and out. So what I'm going to do in a moment is I'm going to show you what a sex offender alert looks like. I'm going to have to jump into another account. I'll pop right back over here. But while I'm doing that, are there any questions? Remember, there are three ways to sign somebody in, right? One is by scanning their ID. The other one is the quick find option, and the other option is a manual entry. So any questions? So Sharon just asked a great question, and the question is, will the scanner take military IDs? It will take military IDs. It will. Every once in a while, depending on the condition of an ID, it may not pull all the appropriate information, right? It may pull off an incorrect name or something like that. There's a few things there that we can do. We're going to talk about that a little bit later before we end. And we're going to talk about calibrating your scanner to make sure that that is that your scanner is working properly. Okay, next question. Can you scan an out-of-country driver's license? You can definitely try. I don't think it's going to work. You can definitely try. Monica, no, it won't take passports. And in fact, if you recall, when I did the manual entry, I did so with the example of saying, if someone comes in with a passport, we're not going to be able to scan it. So you'll have to use the manual entry. Good question, Monica. Just give me 1 second, everyone. I'll be right with you in a moment. I apologize. So just to circle back, the scanner will not take passports. You'll have to do a manual entry. The scanner, you can definitely try an out-of-country driver's license. It may take the photo, but it may not take all the appropriate information. It may not pull anything. We've only tested with in-state driver's license, military IDs. We also do Mexican consulate cards as well. So let's try this over again. Oh, right. So here we are. I've entered in, this is a manual entry. This is something we might do, as I said, Monica, for a passport. We've entered in their information, first name, last name, and date of birth. We've entered in a school event, and now I'll hit submit. And when I hit submit, let's take a look at what happened. possible offender alert. So this is what the possible offender alert on your end is going to look like. So you definitely want to make sure that your screen cannot be seen by anyone else, or definitely anyone on the other side of your desk, right? So we don't want this. This is not for public consumption, so to speak. So let's dissect this a little. So at the very top, you'll see it says possible offender alert. Please confirm a match based on the information below. And so here, you'll see two buttons. They'll say match and no match. We're going to be using those buttons in a moment. But down below, you'll see it says 1 of 3. So this name, John Doe, which is a very, very popular alias, has yielded 3 possible hits against the sex offender database. So off the bat, we know that there's 3 possible offenders. So we know for sure that some of them won't be the real persons. That's really important to keep in mind, that it's up to you to make the determination as to whether that person is in fact the person in front of you. And so on the left-hand side, you'll see the visitor column. It's indicated by gray. You'll see that person's picture. You'll see the information you manually entered in. So for example, first name, last name, and date of birth, it's all there because I gave the information. I gave that information. Then over to the right-hand side in the red column, you'll see the offender. And that is the person in the database. And so at this point, what you're really doing is you're comparing these two to seeing if this person is in fact the same person. A couple things I really want to point out and emphasize here for everybody that are very, very important. Along with the picture, which gives lots of great information and will help in aiding in helping you decide whether it's a match or not, you really, really, really want to pay attention to the physical description. Okay? The physical description is going along with, in combination, right, in conjunction with the photo, is what you're going to want to do, is information that you're going to want to use to make the determination if in fact this person is the sex offender. The reason I emphasize this so much is because we have had some people say, no, this person is a match, when in fact they weren't. Maybe they had a resemblance to the person, but when you looked at the physical description, there were some pretty big discrepancies. So always want to tell you to take your time. There's no need to rush. Just take a look at this. And so at this point, I look at this and I say, you know what? They definitely don't look alike. And this man says he weighs 245 pounds. The man in front of me really doesn't, I don't think weighs that much, and does not have blonde hair. So at this point, I can hit no match. When that happens, you'll see another offender will come in. Again, you'll do the same thing. You'll take a look at all the information, look at the photo, take a look at the physical description, and maybe at this point you say, you know what, not a match. But then finally you come here. You get to this point, and looks like the same person. Physical description seems to match. This person is a match. And so at this point, you would simply hit match. We're going to ask you one last time. We're going to tell you, after reviewing the information below, are you sure this is a match? So this is kind of the, here's where you make that final decision. Whatever you choose here, this is quote unquote the point of no return. So really what you're choosing here is if it is a match, you would select yes, it is a match. That would send a series of alerts out to people on your alert list. Or you can hit cancel, and you can hit no match. And if you hit no match, that person is automatically signed in. So that's how we sign. So that's what it would look like if you were to be signing someone in and have a possible sex offender alert pop up on your screen. Any questions about what we just witnessed? Anything I can help to clarify? Let's take a few seconds to field any questions. All right. So it doesn't look like there's any questions per se. So why don't we go ahead and move forward, and let's talk a little bit more about Raptor and what's going to happen. So after you've signed somebody in, or after you've, I should say, let's rewind that a bit. After you have seen a sex offender alert pop on the screen, and if you have said this in fact is a match, what's going to happen? Well, what's going to happen is a series of text messages and emails will go out to people on your contact list. Well, let's talk about what's going to be sent out and who's going to get notified. So for that, I'm going to go into the area labeled admin. Now, for you entry administrators, you will not have access to this, but if you're a building administrator or you're a principal, you will. But this is good information for everyone to see, just because it will help you understand exactly how the system works. So what I'm going to do is when I go into alert settings, I'm going to go into this area, sex offender alert. I'm going to scroll down here. Now, as I said, I want to show you what exactly the message will be sent out, what you'll be seeing. And so here we have an email message and a text message. They are one and the same, meaning the same information will go out. But what you're going to notice, I'm going to make it a little larger for you, is in the alert message, we have the actual message that will be going out. So it will say, well, before I read it, let me point out a few things. You'll notice that there's some words that are in all caps, bookended by percentage signs. Right? Those are what we call message tokens. Whenever you see that, what it means is we're going to replace that message token, that word, with the actual real relevant information. For example, this might say an offender named John Doe was logged today at 10:20 on August 8th when signing in at Berkeley Alternative School building. Below is the information that was logged. For more information, contact Fabian Aguilar. And so that is the message that will go out. Right now what we have is we have messages set to go out to John Fraser and David Wiggins. Okay. Your principals and building admins and district admins can always add more people. They just click on this little blue button, add contact, and they can add people there to it. Okay. So for example, right, Berkeley Alternative School. There's Donald Brown. I can add Donald right there. And if I scroll down and I hit save, now Donald will receive a notification every time a sex offender comes into the campus. Okay. So those are the messages that will be going out, and this is how we determine who will be receiving those messages. Again, if you're an entry administrator, you're not going to be able to kind of modify this or change this, but I thought it was important for you to understand exactly what's going to happen when you do select a match. What's the information going out, and who's going to get that information, or how is that information determined? And so this is how that's done. So before I move on into talking about reports or things like that and things of that nature, are there any questions about what happens after you have matched a sex offender? I'll go ahead and wait a few seconds here. All right, so we have a quick question with, and this is Terry D. What happens after the alert is sent? Do the police get involved? Well, that's a question that's really best handled by your district people. But I will tell you that really, if someone comes into your campus and you've set a match, the only people who will be notified are the people on the contact list. Right? We did not call the police. That does not happen. So at that point, I can tell you what happens at most schools or most districts. Most districts, whoever's on the contact list will receive a notification. In this case, let's just use Donald Brown as an example. Donald Brown might make his way down to the front office and then take over the situation from there. My recommendation is that you have a match. I would simply ask the person to please take a seat, that you'd be with them in a moment, and then some people which appear at your, at your front office, but it does not call the police. But you could, if you wanted to, create a contact, have the contact information be someone at the police department that could then be notified. But no, just to answer your question clearly and concisely, Terry, the police are not involved. Any involvement with the police would involve anyone on the contact list or yourself reaching out to them. Any other questions? Great question, Terry. Thanks a lot. So just remember that after everything is sent, you get an email and a text message. And so then, so David chimed in, and David says, currently we don't have the Raptor system set up to call the police. However, each school's front office is equipped with an emergency button. So David, I don't know if you're talking for a separate emergency button, but in the system, in Raptor itself, we do have an emergency button in the upper right-hand corner that you can hit. But again, that will only go out to contacts. The emergency button does not contact the police. Okay, fantastic. So it sounds like you all have your own emergency button. So definitely, it sounds like if you have your own emergency button in front office and there is a situation that is beyond your control, by all means, please do what you feel is necessary. All right. So what I want to do next is, and again, if you have more questions, please keep them coming. But I want to do next is show you reports. So let's go back to the navigation pane. So I'm going to go back into the sign in, sign out area, because this is most likely where you'll be coming from. And if you look over to the navigation pane on the far left-hand side, you'll see an area labeled reports. So let's go ahead and click on that. So as I click on reports, you'll see we have different tabs here for different modules, but we're just going to be using visitors. And so we have 4 reports. Now, the first report is the visitor details report. This is a report that's going to give you all the information, right? Meaning it's going to give you the person's photo. It's going to give you all the details, where the person went, what their ID number is. It's going to give you everything, right? It's kind of the whole package. A lot of information. The visitor sign-in history by building allows you to group buildings and destinations accordingly. So this can be run at the district level, but for you at a school, you can run a report just to find out who's in the cafeteria or who was here for parent conference, right? You can set up that kind of report. You can do visitor sign-in by destination. That's what I just mentioned. The one that I think is the one that's most commonly used and is the visitor sign-in history by date. And the reason this is most commonly used is because it's pretty straightforward. Let me go ahead and show you what I mean. Let me click on it. So I come here, and all it's going to do is I'm going to select a date range, and it's going to tell me who signed in and out of that school on that particular date. So all I do is select in the proper date range. And if you've ever booked a hotel, or if you've ever booked airfare online, very similar. You kind of select your dates. But rather than selecting an arrival or checkout or arrival departure date, what you're doing is selecting the start date and the end date of your report. So once you've selected that, then you simply hit generate report. And when I hit generate report, we'll see that we have a whole, we have people here. In fact, we've, this report actually has, look down here, 44 people that have signed in to the Berkeley Alternative School. And if you want to export this report, no problem. All you do is on the far right, you will see there's an icon for Excel. So you can export this as an Excel spreadsheet, and then a PDF. So if you wanted to export this as a PDF document, no problem. You can do that as well. You'll simply just download into your browser. So that is how we run reports. Are there any questions about reports or anything I can clarify up to this point? All right. So that seems pretty straightforward. So what I want to do next is I want to go over to the far left-hand side, and I want to go into the area labeled support. So support is a place, just as it sounds, it's a place for you to get the support that you need. Now, of course, you have your district resources, but I always say, it's always good to be self-sufficient, and if that's not good enough, then you reach out for help. So this is a place where you can kind of investigate to find out if maybe you can find the answer for whatever it is you're looking for. So the thing I want to point you to is our Raptor University area right here. So I'm simply just going to select Raptor University. When I do that, you're going to see 3 icons appear. One will be live training, the other documentation, and media. So let me go to live training first. So we do have live training, right? Kind of like right now is a live training, but I'm giving you a very specialized live training specifically for your district. But we do offer live training weekly for anyone who would like to attend. It's open to anybody. And we have different trainings for different roles. So if you're an entry admin, if you wanted to learn just about visitor, by all means, you can do that. If you wanted to learn more about, what it's like to be a building administrator, we have that there for you too. And so down below, you'll see a schedule of our trainings, and you can just register for them. Okay. So that's great. That's especially great is if you have somebody new and you want to get them to speed real quickly, send them over to Raptor University live training. The next area we have is documentation. Documentation. So when I go to documentation, we have 3 major sections. The first one is our end user training guides. These are great guides, everyone. They're fantastic, super comprehensive. If I had to be critical of them, I would say they're a little bit cumbersome. There's a lot of information in there. So these are great if you want to become the expert. Not so great if you're looking just to find how to complete one simple task. Okay. Again, the system administration guides, same thing for them. Fantastic, lots of great information, extremely comprehensive. But if you're looking to find out to do one thing, not the best place to go to. The best place to go to find out how to do one thing is our quick reference guide. Quick reference guides, right? So it's all in the name. Very, very easy for you to be able to get information and act upon that. So if you want to know what's the sign-in procedure like, okay, let me go ahead and click on that. If I click on that, you'll see we have the sign-in procedure right there available for us to see. So I can scroll down, see, we'll show you how to sign somebody in. All right there for you. Okay. So that document's right there for you. We have lots of other information as well. We also have one that's called Calibrate Scanner. Now, this is something I want to spend special attention on. I know that having worked closely with our support team, a lot of calls that we get into our support staff has to do with there's an issue with the scanner. It's not reading IDs. It's not pulling information. Well, when that happens, you need to calibrate your scanner. Calibrating your scanner, I would recommend doing it once a week. Definitely, without a doubt, once a month. Right? If you don't do it at least once a month, you're definitely going to run into issues. But if I were you, I would set up a little calendar event reminder, to calibrate the machine. Maybe Monday morning, right when you get in, might be something you want to do. Now, how do you calibrate the machine? Well, calibrating the machine, you'll need a nice piece of paper. I'll send that over to David Wiggins. We'll shoot that over to you. You can print it out, and it's a calibration paper. But what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to first pull up Raptor on your computer. And so where is Raptor? Well, let me show you where it's at. And I mean Raptor installed on your computer. So let me show you. Here we go. So if you go down to your little tray on the very bottom right-hand corner, you open that up, you'll see a Raptor icon. It's a little R. You probably can't see it right now on your computer. If you can, you have Eagle Vision, and I'm jealous, but you probably can't see it. But it's a little R. It's a Raptor logo, and you're going to right-click, and you're going to hit Open Hardware Service. When you do that, the hardware service is going to open up. So you might be saying, Fabian, what's the hardware service? Well, the hardware service is the actual piece of software that we install on your machines. It allows for our scanners and for our printers to speak to the actual website. So you'll open this up, and you'll notice on the far left-hand side, just like in Raptor itself, we have a navigation pane. You're going to want to go to Scanner. Right? So here I am in Scanner. Now, what you're going to do is you're simply going to place that piece of paper in the scanner, just like you would an ID. Okay, so you would hold it just like that, right? Again, I'll be sending the piece of paper, what it looks like to you all. You can print it out, but you would place it in there, and then what you're going to do is you're going to hit calibrate right there. You're going to hit calibrate. What's going to happen is once you hit calibrate, it's going to, sorry for the sound effect, it's going to pull in that piece of paper, and it's going to calibrate the machine. Now, if you want to, at that point, you can run a test scan, and you can just run a test scan on an ID. You run it, all the information will populate right there. You'll also notice some other information. We'll let you know if your scanner needs recalibration. It will say true or false. So my recommendation is to always open, if you have an issue with the scanner, first and foremost, always open up your Raptor hardware service. You do this by going to the bottom right-hand side, looking for the little R, right-click on it, and hit Open Hardware Service. When you do that, you'll see the hardware service appear on your screen, just like it appeared right now. And right away, you'll be able to know, scanner requires calibration, false. Oh, my scanner doesn't need to be recalibrated. Or maybe it does, it might say true. If you're pulling a bad scan, whether it says true or false, definitely calibrate that, and then produce a test scan, and that will help you out. I would say that 95% of the issues you have with your printer, or excuse me, with your scanner, are going to be related to it needing calibration. Okay, and the calibration can be done by yourself. It's really easy. If you have to call someone, or you have to submit a help desk ticket, or even call support, you're extending the amount of time you would need by, 4 or 5 times what it would take. Calibrating the machine is going to take all of 2 minutes. It will help you kind of move things along pretty easily. So that's calibrating the machine. Any questions about calibrating our Raptor scanner? Oh, right. Okay. So it looks like there's no questions about that. So at this point, I would just like to open it up for general questions. Kind of covered everything I want to do. So just to review, remember, when we sign people in and out, there are 3 ways to sign people in and out. Scan the ID, and that is for first-time visitors, all first-time visitors. We can perform a quick search, right? A quick find. Those are for all return visitors. And then we can always do a manual entry, and those are for all visitors who have a valid ID that is not accepted by the scanner. It's just size-wise, just too large. So with that said, I just want to open up the floor for any questions, or if anyone at the district would like to say anything, now would be the time. But I've kind of gone through the content I wanted to go through, and so now I'll just open it up. So it's a good question. So The question is from Monica. If we wanted to set up a way for our substitute to sign in and out through Raptor, is that possible? Yeah, it's definitely possible, Monica. There are a couple ways in which we can do that. We can do it via the visitor module. We can even use what we call the staff module. So it's possible. That would be a conversation that we would need to have at the district level to see if we want to roll that out. So I don't know whether or not that would be something the district would want to move forward with, but you can always sign in a visitor. Sign in a substitute. You can even type. There's an opportunity when you select destination. We have these preset destinations. You could literally type in substitute if you want to, and that would be a way to keep track of substitutes coming in. Great question, Monica. Okay, so let's got a few more questions. So Alexandria asked, are we able to scan district badges? Well, the functionality is definitely there. Well, in order for that to happen, we would need to import your staff information, and for that, I would definitely refer to your district personnel for that. And then we have Sharon. Sharon says, our school has not used Raptor in the past for signing in students, but we are going to start this year. Will our students already be in the system, or do we need to let technology know? Well, you're definitely going to want to let technology know about that. Yep. It's definitely something you'll need to speak to technology about, because that's going to require us importing students into the system. Oh, my apologies are already in. Sorry, David. I went to one school that had no students. I'm sorry about that. So let's cover this. My apologies about this. So yes, your students are already in there. You'll be able to sign them in and out. So let me show you what that looks like. So if a student were to come in, you would simply hit student. And when you hit student, you're going to find that particular student. You are not going to scan their ID. You're going to do a find. And so let me go ahead and let's use a sample student real quick. Oh, right. So here I would simply just put in a sample student's name, and I'll hit find. And when I do that, you'll see I'll have two options. You might have more than one, depending on what you enter in. So there's a student. I can hit sign in right here. You'll see their information will populate right there for me. And then I need to select a reason, right? Why are they signing in? Okay, well, is it an appointment, a dentist? Did they oversleep? Is it personal? Is it a tardy? Whatever the case may be. And then you hit submit. Now, if you're signing a student out, you go to sign out, you would still find a student, right? So let's say Ruby was actually going to be leaving campus, not signing into campus. So there's Ruby. I would hit sign out. Okay. And then what I can do is, it is possible for us to actually upload Guardian. So if there was a Guardian there, we can select it. But if it's not, we can select one-time pickup. So I select one-time pickup, and then here I would actually scan that person's ID, or if they're a return visitor, I can search for them manually. Okay. And so that is what student sign out would look like. So any questions about signing students in and out? Oh, right. So the question is, then we should be able to generate reports for students. Absolutely. So if we go under the reports area and we go to students, the students tab, which is going to be located right here, then you'll see that what we can do is we have reports. You can see students that are currently active, student sign out history, student tardy count, and information like that. So Tina asked a great question. Just, does the time get recorded for each student sign in and sign out? The answer to that is yes. Next question. Does it automatically update with daylight saving times changes? The answer to that is yes, Tina. So yes, every time a student signs in and out, the time that we're signing them in and out is one of the most important pieces of information that we capture. And yes, the system will automatically change for any daylight savings time changes. Great question, Tina. Any other questions? Okay, so Sharon asks, a new student enrolls after the school year starts. How are they added? That is a question for the district. I believe they probably have things set up to actually get that all set up. So David said it'll be automated, so fantastic. So what your tech team has done is using some of the tools in the system was we've automated the data imported. So whenever a student gets added into your student information system, it's linked to Raptor, or basically the data we basically have a way to get that data into Raptor, and so it's going to automatically be updated. So we should be good to go. Thanks a lot for that information, David. Oh, Terry, sorry I didn't get to your question, but it's about destination locations being added, or will you be able to add more destinations? Yes, more destinations can be added. It really depends on your level, your role and permission. So if you're a building administrator, you can go into the admin area, and from there you can go into module settings. And if you scroll all the way down, you'll see that we have reasons for your visit. Okay, this is controlled at the district level, so we can't really control this. So if you go here to sign in, sign out, and we sign somebody in, you'll see destinations. You'll see we have that. That's controlled at the district level. But what you can do is you can literally type in a one-time event if you need to. So I hope that answers your question, Jerry. Yep. And so David in technology just said that technology can definitely add more, or your principals can add them as well. And yes, this can be customized at each school. David, you'll just want to make sure that when you go into your district level account, that you allow it to be changed. You allow for building override of that. Okay. So for that, real quick, David, since you're on the call, you would first have to be under all buildings. So let me go here, dashboard, all buildings. Then from there, you go under admin, module settings, and then you can simply just add them right there and then. Okay. Any other questions? Great questions, everyone. All right. So as I said, I've kind of covered everything I wanted to cover. I'll stay on the line. We're going to sit for the next 10 minutes. If you have any questions, please let me know. If not, have a great day, and I hope you found this helpful. Awesome. Thanks so much, everyone. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Y'all have a great day and good luck with the Raptor system. And just know we're always here to help.